Welcome to My Decadent Life. My name is Jennifer. Thank you so much for being here. I am a hairdresser who has done some professional makeup in the past, mostly on brides and things like that. Nothing fabulous like TV, but I wanted to give you my point of view on how I like to apply foundation. I stuck with a very traditional foundation in this circumstance, in the sense of it was like a liquid foundation that came with a pump. I show you two different ways to apply it, and we talk a little bit more about how I like to do it. And of course, there are other options out there. This is just my perspective. If you're curious to see how I like to do it, please stick around. There is some lawn business going on outside, but we have no kids at our house today, so I'm going to take full advantage and film as much as I can because we have a baby coming soon and I know my time will be limited. So this video, we are going to focus on foundation, essentially application. I'll talk a little bit about this specific foundation, but I did do a whole video and even a little bit of an update, so I will link those as well. This is the Exa Beauty Foundation. I'm really enjoying this. So I won't talk so much about it, but this is a semi-satin foundation. I find it to feel more illuminating than I would have expected, but I like an illuminating foundation. I do typically powder my foundation. I won't go into too much detail on that today either, because this is really going to be a detailed foundation application. I'm going to do two sides of my face. We're going to do a brush and a sponge, or a sponge and a brush. We'll see which one I decide when I start doing it. And I just wanted to talk like you've never put foundation on. I forget that makeup isn't second nature to everybody. I often like to compare it to like me trying to do my taxes. That is not second nature. That is complete terror. And I am a self-employed business person and I have no clue what I'm doing. So thank goodness for the people who do to help guide me through. So I'm thinking of this demo slash tutorial today as like literally I am gonna teach you the basics. So my skin is prepped. What does that mean? I've done my skincare. Your skincare may be different than mine. I used a vitamin C and I used a lightweight moisturizer. I used a sunscreen. Can't remember which one I put on. And then I used the Juice Beauty Illuminating Primer, which I already put away, but there is a video in regards to all of the primers that I have as well, and whether or not you need a primer, because your skin is different than mine. My skin is pretty normal right now, which is kind of crazy. I am pregnant. My skin should probably be wild, but it isn't. Some skin conditions that I do have, things that I want to cover up. I don't know if you can see. How about I zoom you in? Here we go, nice and personal. If you can see, I get like some of these little red dots on my face. Some of these might be blemishes, but some of these right here are little bits of melasma. I thank my lucky stars that my melasma is very manageable. But I want to show you, like this little dot right here. I get these when I'm pregnant. They have a name. I don't remember what it is. It's not important. You might know what it is. But I don't love them. And red isn't a great color on your face. So I do wear foundation almost every day, even though I am thankful for the skin that I have and I like my skin. I do still like to cover up some of the blemishes. This little guy right here, there's like a little pimple that is kind of healing, but also I have like some little capillaries, it looks like. So those are things you might be wanting to blur, camouflage for wearing foundation. And whatever reason you want to wear foundation, that is good enough reason for me. So I'm going to keep you sort of zoomed in, but not too crazy, because a little too close is a little too close. There are several ways you can put on your foundation. Your fingers, for sure. I hate that. I put on my skin tints or my tinted sunscreen kind of situations with my fingers a lot of the times, but I still don't love it, but I do it. I don't know, there's just something about the texture in my hands and feeling like I'm just like rubbing it, and I don't know. It's not for me, but it might be for you. I have several people close to me that I know love to put their foundation on with their fingers, and you're just saving yourself money, and you're actually saving yourself product because you won't be wasting any product on a tool. But I don't care for that, so I'm actually not going to show you much of that today because truly you can do that however you want. You can just go ahead, you can be more detailed, you can pat, however you want to use your fingers to put your foundation on is fine by me, as long as it works for you. But today I'm going to show you the application that I prefer to use, and that is typically with a sponge. So I did open up a clean EcoTool sponge for this video. You don't want a dirty sponge to show off a dirty sponge in an all about foundation video. I like these. This one I believe says it gives like a medium coverage. The density of it is like a little firmer than some of the other ones that they have, but I like an EcoTools sponge. I like EcoTools overall as a company, very affordable. I think this baby is like about $5, and depending on where you get it from, oftentimes they even have like a buy one get one kind of BOGO happening. So another EcoTools product that I do like is their Wonder Cover Complexion. I tend to use this more for concealer than I do overall foundation. I don't love putting foundation on with a brush, so you probably won't see me do that very often if you watch some of my videos. But every once in a while I change things up and I feel like I just want to grab a brush and do a little bit more detailed work, or perhaps up the coverage a little bit, and then sometimes I will grab a brush. Another great foundation brush option is a Wayne Goss brush. You guys know I love Wayne Goss. This is his Foundation 01. You get this in one of his sets. I'm not sure if it's available. However, I don't love it for applying foundation. I love to use this brush specifically for contour. I love contouring with this brush, but people love this brush, and Wayne has tutorials on how to use this brush for foundation. So that is always an option as well. Here you're getting more of a, like a, what do you call that? Like a duo fiber kind of situation. And here you're getting much more of like a flat head situation. So probably a little less coverage and a little more coverage. In that same regard, EcoTools has this bugger. But I don't love this for foundation either, but some people have really good luck. This kind of mimics one of those like paddle brushes, if you can know what I'm talking about. They have like this big head on them, and people kind of like put them on like this. They really smooth their foundation on. Really densely packed, even more so than this guy has more give. These are like, no, they're not shorter. They're about the same height, but these have, it's so dense where these wiggle quite a bit more. So I think that I would enjoy putting a cream foundation on with this product. If you're using a cream foundation and you really want to buff nice and slow and you're going to be patient, this might be a great option for you. I'm not that patient when I put my foundation on, and I don't like that much coverage. But again, that changes because if you want more coverage or you want to use a cream foundation, then this would be a good option for that. So I never want to discount a product just because it isn't my favorite to use all the time. It definitely has its time and its place. This is a foundation brush from Clove & Hollow. This is a vegan foundation brush. Again, it has a very similar feel to this one. It is more expensive. These are both vegan. I would actually say they're both great brushes, but this one probably does the same thing for a lot less money. Clove & Hollow is a great company though, and I really enjoy supporting them as well. And then you can get into this like really kind of like sheer kind of foundation situation with a brush like this. This is also neat. I have a lot of EcoTools brushes. I thought I had more, I guess not, of other kind of brushes. This one gives like a really nice sheer application. However, I find that it can end up being a little bit streaky. Some people really like to stipple their product on, and this works good for that. And then you would just go ahead and finish that however you want. For today's purposes, we are going to use this brush because I would say out of all of these, this is the brush I would reach for if I was going to put my foundation on with a brush. And then let's go ahead and we'll just use our sponge on the other side. So you truly get to decide how much product you want to use. So many people, they're like, well, it says to use a pump, so I use a pump, and then, you know, it's like maybe not enough. I kind of go in and experiment with the coverage and see how far it goes. A lot of times I like to start in the center of my face and work its way out because I don't need so much coverage on the edges of my face. However, I do like to blend down to my neck. So I have shaken my foundation. If you're using a liquid foundation, you're going to want to shake it up almost always. If you're using a cream in a pan, of course, that is going to be different. And again, we're not really focusing on that today. Once my skin tone lightens up enough where my Ritual de Fille cream pan foundation matches, I will do a dedicated video to that product. Again, like an updated version of it, and talk a lot about the application, but I did touch a lot on how I liked to do that in the video I have, so I will link that because that is a beautiful foundation, and I still liked to apply that with a sponge, but there are other ways that you can apply foundation like that. But today I just wanted to focus on your traditional liquid style foundation. So I'm going to put a pump on the back of my hand. Now, this is where things get wild, and everybody does things differently. I know I mentioned I don't like to apply my foundation with my hands, but I kind of like to spread things all out and put it on my face so that it's kind of like already there to go ahead and use it. And then from there, I can pick up that excess product with my tool. Does that kind of make sense? So I'm putting a little bit of product on here, and I am going to do a little stippling to begin with. I kind of follow my eye socket. I'm going to put concealer under my eye, so I don't want to take it all the way up underneath my eye because I don't really need foundation there if I'm going to do a concealer there. And again, I'm sort of bouncing. You could call it stippling. And I'm sort of just hitting all those main areas. And then, once I get down here, I'm actually going to blend a little bit more because I want to blend that product down. So then I'm going to go ahead and I just want to, I don't want to cover up what I'm doing, but I just want to sort of buff that product around my edges, buff it up and into my ear. I don't want it on my earring, but blend through those edges and then down my neck. So that is essentially applied on that side, and then I'm going to take just a little bit more product because the sponge does tend to soak up a little bit more product, and I'm going to put just a little bit on the sponge. And then I'm going to start pouncing. I guess I kind of got over the other side a little bit with my brush, but same type of thing. I'm just going to pounce, pounce, pounce. So essentially I'm doing those same motions. And I like to try to stay a little focused at where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like blend from the center kind of out. And then I will take my sponge and sort of drag that product down. Same thing sort of into my ear and down my neck. Sometimes when I see people do their foundation, it seems like they just go all over, and I know that I probably do that most mornings when I'm kind of in a hurry. But I find if I just take a second and focus a little bit more, it really kind of spreads out a little bit better, a little bit evenly, a little bit more evenly, and I don't have to put so much darn work into it. Now, this little guy up here, he won't cover completely with this foundation, so when I go ahead and do my eyes then, is when I would put a little bit more concealer over the top of him. And I just like to go back and kind of press in to some of those places where I might need a little more coverage or just a little bit more blending. This wrinkle, he's kind of on the brush side. So I'll just make sure that that wrinkle is nice and, I want to get the product kind of in it, not just sitting on the top of it, and press around my nose. But I don't know if you can really tell, much of a difference between application. I think that it's mostly personal preference. I think this side might feel a little bit more sheer. This is a little bit more built up. But again, I could just add a little bit more product. However, your sponge will absorb a little bit more product than a brush like this will, and they will both absorb more product than your fingers would. So if you're somebody who really wants to conserve, go ahead and just try to do it with your fingers. I just find I spend so much time rubbing, and what I really like is to almost press product into my skin a little bit more. Something about how that works or how that feels for me just makes more sense when I'm physically applying the product to my face. Okay, so this is everything applied, no powder or anything. We will catch up with that in the next video. One thing I wanted to talk about just a tiny bit, again, that could be its own video, is color matching. So I purchased this foundation at the height of my summer tan. Yes, I wear sunscreen. Yes, I know. But listen, we live outside in the summer. It does not matter how covered up I am, I still catch a tan. So I really like to match my face to my chest and almost more my shoulders, where I am comfortable letting my neck be a tiny bit lighter. I do just like to, like I was saying, make sure to blend that down. I do have a little bit of a puffiness going on and a little bit of a double chin again towards the end of this pregnancy, especially I'm getting puffier. So I definitely don't want to see like a color difference in those areas. So I like to make sure I blend that down. Now, not all foundation has to be set. Not all skin types want a set foundation, whether it is a luminous foundation or a matte foundation. That might really depend. I find that I get really hot when I work, and even though my skin type is pretty normal, if I'm gonna blow dry and talk and really move around while I'm doing hair at the salon, I do like to have my face set. That will be different for you. I'm dealing with little pieces of hair that want to stick to my face. So if there's anything sticky or tacky, I do like to powder. But that isn't necessarily something that you might need to do. Now, if you work somewhere where you end up talking on the phone a lot, you might actually like to powder the outside of your face and maybe not the center of your face. So just know that you can really do what you want to do to have the effect you need it to have. But that just because you're watching somebody who says like, after 35, stop powdering your face, that would be great because look how luminous and beautiful this looks. But my makeup would be smeared all over if I wore this to the salon. If I have to wear a mask, if I end up with color all over my hands and I wipe my face a little bit with the back of my arm, I just like to have that powder barrier. It just works best for me. So we will touch on that a little bit more in the powder video, but this was just my example of how I like to apply liquid foundation. All right, everybody, thank you for joining me for this video. I hope you learned a little bit of something. And of course, if you are already a pro yourself, you probably didn't learn anything, but I think we all have a unique perspective and it's kind of fun to put it out there because it's great to learn from each other. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. It means a lot. Leave me a comment. I would love that. And consider subscribing. I would love to see you in my next video. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.